The morning sun painted the Atlantic Ocean in shades of gold and blue as Dr. Lisa Carter stood on the deck of the research vessel Neptune's Dawn. She held her coffee cup tightly, watching the waves roll beneath the ship. Lisa had been studying the ocean floor for 15 years, but today felt different. Her team was about to explore a section of the Atlantic that had never been properly mapped. "Dr. Carter, you need to see this," called Ben Hayes from the control room. Ben was her best researcher, a man who could read sonar images like others read books. Lisa hurried inside, her heart beating faster. On the screens in front of Ben, strange shapes appeared on the ocean floor. They were too regular to be natural rocks, too organized to be random debris. Lisa leaned closer, squinting at the images. "What depth are we looking at?" she asked. 3,000 feet down, Ben replied. "But Lisa, these readings are weird. The shapes are giving off some kind of energy signature?" Before Lisa could respond, the ship's communication system crackled to life. Captain Jake Morrison's voice filled the room, tense and urgent. "All hands. This is the captain. We have visitors. Unknown aircraft approaching from the northeast. Everyone stay calm and follow emergency protocols." Lisa and Ben rushed to the deck. Other crew members were already there, pointing at the sky. What they saw made Lisa's mouth fall open. 3 massive ships hung in the air above them, silent and still. They were nothing like any aircraft Lisa had ever seen. The ships were smooth and curved, like giant teardrops made of silver metal. They had no visible engines or wings, yet they floated in the sky as if gravity meant nothing to them. "Are those ... Ben started to say, but his words died in his throat. The largest ship began to descend toward the ocean surface. It stopped about 50 feet above the water, sending ripples across the waves with some invisible force. A beam of light shot down from the ship, and 3 figures appeared in the light. They floated down gently, landing on the deck of Neptune's Dawn. The beings were tall and thin, with pale blue skin that seemed to shimmer in the sunlight. Their heads were larger than human heads, and their eyes were big and dark. They wore clothes that looked like they were made of liquid metal, changing color as they moved. The tallest of the 3 beings stepped forward. When it spoke, its voice came from a small device on its chest, translating its words into English. "I am Commander Vex-9 of the Zephyrian Exploration Fleet. We come in peace to study your primitive civilization." Captain Morrison appeared on deck, trying to look brave despite the fear in his eyes. "Welcome to Earth," he said carefully. "I'm Captain Jake Morrison. We're honored to meet you." Commander Vex-9 looked around the ship with what seemed like boredom. "Your technology is quite basic. We have been watching your planet for many of your years. You have only recently begun to leave your world's surface. Most impressive for such a young species." Lisa felt her anger rising. The alien's tone was like an adult talking to a small child. "Young species?" she said, stepping forward. "Humans have been on Earth for thousands of years. We have rich cultures and long histories." The commander turned its large eyes toward Lisa. "You speak of your brief existence as if it were significant. My people have traveled between stars for over 10,000 of your years. We have seen many worlds and many species. You are still children playing with simple tools." 2 more human ships appeared on the horizon. The military had arrived, but they kept their distance. Everyone knew that starting a fight with beings who could fly ships like these would be foolish. "Perhaps we can learn from each other," Captain Morrison suggested. "We would be happy to share our knowledge and culture with you." Commander Vex-9 made a sound that might have been laughter. "What could you possibly teach us? Your entire civilization could disappear tomorrow and the universe would barely notice. This has happened to countless species before you." Lisa's hands clenched into fists. "You don't know anything about us. Human civilization goes back much further than you think. We have mysteries in our past that we're still trying to understand." "Mysteries?" The commander seemed amused. "You mean your fairy tales and legends, your stories of magic and impossible things?" "They're not fairy tales," Lisa said firmly. "There are places on Earth that show humans once achieved things we can barely imagine. Ancient cities, impossible structures, technologies we don't understand, like Atlantis. The word hung in the air. Commander Vex 9 and the other aliens exchanged glances. Then the commander's translation device made that laughing sound again. Atlantis, the commander repeated. A story your people tell themselves to feel important. We have scanned your planet thoroughly. There are no lost cities, no hidden technologies. Your species has always been exactly what it is now, primitive beings who have just learned to use fire and simple machines. The second alien, who had been silent until now, spoke up. Commander, perhaps we should conduct a proper survey of their civilization, for our records. Yes, K7, the commander agreed. We will catalog what passes for human achievement before this species destroys itself as they always do. It will be an interesting study in primitive behavior. Lisa felt her face grow hot with anger. You're wrong about us. Dead wrong. Child, Commander Vex 9 said, its voice dripping with condescension. We have studied 100 worlds. We know. How these things end? Your species will fight wars over resources, pollute your environment, and eventually destroy yourselves. We have seen it happen many times. But we're different, Ben said, finding his voice. Humans are survivors. We've been through disasters before, and we've always found a way. Your entire recorded history spans only a few thousand years, the third alien said. You have no perspective on time or survival. We have civilizations in our empire that are older than your entire species. Captain Morrison tried to keep the peace. Perhaps we can start with simple exchanges. Show each other our technologies, our cultures. Commander Vex 9 nodded. Very well. We will establish a temporary research station in your orbit. You may send representatives to observe our methods. Consider it an educational opportunity. The aliens began to float back up toward their ship in the beam of light. As they rose, Commander Vex 9 called down to them. Do not expect too much from this exchange, humans. We are scientists, not miracle workers. We cannot make you more than what you are. As the alien ships departed, growing smaller in the sky, Lisa stood on the deck feeling a mix of anger and determination. The aliens thought humans were nothing special, just another primitive species stumbling through history. Dr. Carter, Ben said quietly, what do we do now? Lisa looked out at the ocean, thinking about the strange readings they had detected that morning. The mysterious shapes on the ocean floor suddenly seemed more important than ever. We do what? We came here to do, she said. We explore the ocean floor. And maybe we find something that will wipe those smug expressions off their alien faces. Captain Morrison joined them at the rail. You really think there's something down there? Something that could change their minds about us? Lisa nodded, her eyes fixed on the dark waters below. I think there's more to human history than any of us realize, and I think it's time we found out what our ancestors were really capable of. The sun was setting now, painting the sky in brilliant oranges and purples. Tomorrow, they would dive deeper into the ocean than they had ever gone before. Tomorrow, they would search for proof that humanity was more than the aliens believed. Lisa didn't know it yet, but tomorrow would change everything. The next morning came too slowly for Lisa Carter. She had barely slept, her mind racing with thoughts of the alien encounter and the mysterious readings they had discovered on the ocean floor. The sunrise painted the Atlantic in deep blues and greens, but Lisa's attention was focused on the equipment spread across the deck of Neptune's Dawn. The submersible is ready, Dr. Carter, said Sam Rodriguez, the ship's marine engineer. Sam had worked on underwater vehicles for 20 years, and his hands moved with practiced skill as he checked the remote controls. We've loaded extra cameras and sampling equipment. If there's something down there, we'll find it. Ben Hayes stood beside the sonar equipment, studying the readings from the previous day. The shapes are still there, he said, pointing at the screen. And Lisa, the energy readings are stronger today. It's like whatever's down there is waking up. Lisa felt a chill run down her spine. Waking up? That's impossible. If there's anything down there, it's been dead for thousands of years. Maybe, Ben said quietly, but these readings don't lie. There's definitely some kind of power source 3,000 feet below us. Captain Morrison joined them on deck. The aliens have been quiet since yesterday. Their ships are still in orbit, but they haven't contacted us. Maybe they're waiting to see if we'll prove ourselves worthy of their attention. Or maybe they're laughing at us, Lisa muttered, watching the primitive humans play with their toys. She shook her head, pushing away the negative thoughts. This was too important to let alien arrogance distract her. Sam, how long until we can launch the submersible? Give me 10 minutes to run final checks, Sam replied. The water is calm. Today, perfect conditions for a deep dive. Lisa nodded and turned to Ben. I want you monitoring everything from up here. Any change in those energy readings, any movement on the sonar, you tell me immediately. You're going down with the submersible? Ben asked, surprised. In the control capsule, yes. If we're going to find something that changes everything, I want to see it with my own eyes. 30 minutes later, Lisa was sealed inside the control capsule attached to the submersible. The capsule was small and cramped, with windows that gave her a view of the ocean around her. Sam operated the remote controls from the ship above, while Lisa could override the controls if needed. Neptune's dawn to Deep Explorer, Sam's voice crackled through the radio. You are go for descent. Current depth 50 feet and descending. Lisa watched the water grow darker as they sank. Sunlight faded from bright gold to deep blue to almost black. Fish swam past her windows, curious about the strange metal visitor in their domain. 1,000 feet, Sam reported. All systems normal. 2,000 feet, switching to deep water lights. Powerful floodlights illuminated the water around Lisa, creating a bubble of visibility in the darkness. Strange deep-sea creatures drifted past, their bodies glowing with natural light. 3,000 feet, Dr. Carter, you should be getting close to the target area. Lisa pressed her face to the window, searching the ocean floor below. At first, she saw only the usual mix of sand, rocks, and marine life. Then, at the edge of her light beam, she spotted something that made her heart race. Sam, do you see this on the cameras? I see it, Dr. Carter, and I don't believe it. Rising from the ocean floor was a structure unlike anything Lisa had ever seen. It was tall and spiral-shaped, like a tower twisted by some giant hand. The surface was smooth and dark, but as Lisa watched, faint lines of light began to appear along its length. Ben, are you getting this? Lisa called into her radio. The energy readings just spiked, Ben's excited voice replied. Whatever that thing is, it's definitely powered. Lisa guided the submersible closer to the structure. As she approached, more details became visible. The tower was not made of stone or metal, but of some material that seemed to shift and change in the light. Symbols were carved into its surface. Symbols that looked almost familiar, but were unlike any writing Lisa had ever seen. There's more, she whispered into the radio. Sam, take us around the base of this tower. As they circled the structure, Lisa gasped. The tower was not alone. Spread across the ocean floor for as far as her lights could reach were more buildings, more structures, all connected by what looked like pathways that glowed with soft blue light. It's a city, Lisa breathed. A complete underwater city. The buildings were beautiful and strange, with curves and spirals that seemed to flow like water made solid. Some were tall and narrow, others were wide and low. Gardens of sea plants grew between the structures, but these were not wild growth. They were carefully arranged, maintained by some system that was still working after who knew how many years. Dr. Carter? Sam's voice was tight with excitement. The sonar is showing this city extends for miles. We're looking at something the size of Manhattan. Lisa's hands shook as she operated the cameras, recording everything she could see. This was beyond her wildest dreams. This was proof that human civilization had achieved incredible things in the distant past. Take us to the center, she ordered. I want to see the heart of this place. As they moved deeper into the city, the pathways grew brighter. It was as if the city knew they were there and was lighting their way. Lisa saw what looked like vehicles, though they were unlike any cars or boats she knew. They were sleek and organic-looking, as if they had been grown rather than built. The energy readings are off the charts now, Ben reported from the surface. Lisa, this place is generating more power than a small town. At the center of the city stood a massive building larger than all the others. It was dome-shaped and covered in the same strange symbols Lisa had seen on the tower. But these symbols were glowing, pulsing with a rhythm that reminded Lisa of a heartbeat. It's like it's alive, she whispered Dot. As the submersible approached the central building, something incredible happened. A section of the dome's wall became transparent, revealing the interior. Lisa could see vast chambers filled with what looked like equipment, though it was unlike any technology she had ever seen. The machines seemed to be part organic, part mechanical, covered in the same flowing curves as the buildings. Dr. Carter, Sam's voice was urgent. We're getting readings from inside that building. It's scanning us. Lisa felt a moment of fear. Is it dangerous? I don't think so. It feels more like it's trying to identify us. Suddenly, the water around the submersible began to glow. Not with artificial light, but with the same soft blue radiance that marked the pathways. Lisa realized that the city's power system was somehow connected to the ocean itself. Ben, what's happening up there? The energy readings are stabilizing. It's like the city has accepted you. Lisa, I think this place was built by humans. The scanning system, it recognized you as human. Lisa's mind reeled. If this city was built by humans, then it was older than any known civilization. The technology she was seeing was more advanced than anything in the modern world. The aliens had been wrong. Dead wrong. How old do you think this place is? She asked. Based on the sediment layers we passed through, Ben replied, I'd say at least 10,000 years. Maybe 12,000? 12,000 years ago, humans were supposed to be living in caves and hunting with spears, Lisa said. But this place is more advanced than anything we have today. She stared at the glowing city around. Her mind racing with implications. If humans had built this incredible place thousands of years ago, what had happened to them? Why was their civilization lost? And most importantly, what would the aliens think when they saw this? Sam, we need to document everything. Every building, every symbol, every piece of technology. This changes everything we know about human history. Already on it, Dr. Carter. We're recording everything in high definition. As Lisa continued to explore the underwater city, she felt a growing sense of excitement and pride. Humans were not the primitive children the aliens thought they were. They were the descendants of a great civilization, a people who had achieved wonders that were now lost to time. The city stretched out before her, beautiful and mysterious, waiting to reveal its secrets. And Lisa Carter was going to be the one to unlock them. Lisa Carter had been underwater for 6 hours, but she felt like she could stay forever. The ancient city spread around her submersible like a dream made real. Every building, every pathway, every strange machine told a story of human achievement that the world had forgotten. Dr. Carter, we need to bring you up soon, Sam Rodriguez's voice crackled through the radio. The weather is changing and we don't want to risk the submersible in rough seas. Just a little longer, Sam. I want to get inside that central building, the dome with all the symbols. Lisa guided the submersible toward the heart of the city. As she approached, the transparent section of the dome grew larger, as if the building was welcoming her inside. The opening was just big enough for her small craft to pass through. Lisa, are you sure about this? Ben Hayes asked from the surface. We don't know what's inside that building. The energy readings are stable, Lisa replied. And this place has been peaceful so far. I think it wants to show us something. The submersible passed through the opening and Lisa gasped. She was inside a vast chamber filled with water, but the water here was different. It glowed with the same soft blue light as the pathways outside, and Lisa could see clearly for hundreds of feet in every direction. The chamber was filled with machines, but they were unlike anything Lisa had ever seen. They seemed to be made of crystal and metal combined, with organic curves that flowed like living tissue. Some were tall and thin, others were wide and flat. All of them pulsed with gentle light. The air in here is different, Lisa said, checking her instruments. It's almost like the water is carrying extra oxygen. I think these machines are cleaning and purifying the ocean around them. As Lisa moved deeper into the chamber, she noticed something amazing. The machines were not just working randomly. They were connected to each other by streams of light, creating a network that spread throughout the entire building. It was like looking at the inside of a giant brain. Ben, I think this is some kind of power center for the whole city. These machines are generating energy from the ocean itself. How is that possible? Ben asked. I don't know, but the readings are incredible. They're using the movement of the water, the heat from the earth below, maybe even the minerals in the seawater. It's completely clean energy and it's been running for thousands of years. Lisa guided the submersible to a platform in the center of the chamber. As she approached, the platform began to rise, lifting her craft out of the water. The submersible settled gently onto the platform, and Lisa found herself in an air-filled space inside the underwater building. Sam, I'm getting readings that there's breathable air in here. The building has somehow created an air pocket. That's impossible, Dr. Carter. You're 3,000 feet underwater. I know it's impossible, but my instruments don't lie. The air pressure is perfect, and the oxygen levels are higher than normal sea-level air. Lisa made a decision that would have seemed crazy to anyone watching. She opened the hatch of her submersible and stepped out onto the platform. The air was warm and fresh, with a slight scent of the ocean, but nothing unpleasant. Lisa, what are you doing? Ben's voice was panicked. You can't just walk around down there. I'm fine, Ben. The air is perfect. And I think I'm supposed to be here. Around the platform, Lisa could see control panels and displays that looked like they were made of living light. As she approached one of them, it began to glow brighter. Symbols appeared on its surface, the same strange writing she had seen on the buildings outside. I wish Amy Foster was here, Lisa said. Amy was the best linguist on the research team, but she was back at the university. These symbols look familiar, but I can't read them. As Lisa spoke, something incredible happened. The symbols on the display began to change, shifting and reforming. Slowly, they became letters that Lisa could recognize. English letters, forming words she could understand. Welcome, child of the ancient bloodline, the display read. You have returned to the place of your ancestors, Lisa's heart pounded. Ben, are you recording this? The machine is communicating with me in English. Recording everything, Dr. Carter. But Lisa, how is it possible that this ancient technology knows English? Lisa read more messages as they appeared on the display. Long have we waited for the children of Atlantis to return. The great catastrophe scattered our people across the world, but we knew that someday you would find your way back home. Atlantis, Lisa whispered. This really is Atlantis. The display continued to show messages, telling the story of the ancient city. Lisa learned that Atlantis had been the center of a great civilization that existed over 12,000 years ago. The Atlanteans had mastered clean energy, underwater farming, and advanced medicine. They had even begun to explore the stars. We were not the only human settlement, the display revealed. Cities like ours existed across the world, connected by great networks of communication and travel. We shared knowledge and worked together to build a better world. Lisa felt tears in her eyes. This was the proof she had dreamed of finding. Humans had once achieved incredible things, built amazing cities, and lived in harmony with the ocean. They had been a great civilization, not the primitive cave dwellers that history books described. What happened to them? Lisa asked aloud. The display seemed to understand her question. New images appeared, showing great waves crashing over cities, earthquakes splitting the land, and fires burning in the sky. The message was clear. A great natural disaster had destroyed the advanced human civilization. The great catastrophe came without warning, the display explained. Earthquakes, floods, and fires swept across the world. Most of our cities were destroyed and our people were scattered. Only a few places like Atlantis survived, hidden beneath the waves. Lisa learned that the survivors had tried to preserve their knowledge and technology. They had built machines that could run for thousands of years. waiting for the day when their descendants would return and reclaim their heritage. We encoded our knowledge in the very structure of the city, the display continued. Every building, every machine, every symbol contains information that will help you rebuild what was lost. As Lisa explored more of the control center, she discovered that the Atlanteans had been incredibly advanced. They had understood genetics, space travel, and energy systems that modern science was only beginning to discover. They had even made contact with other worlds, though they had not yet traveled to the stars when the catastrophe struck. "Dr. Carter," Sam's voice interrupted her thoughts. "We're getting some interesting readings up here. It looks like the city is expanding its energy field. Other structures are lighting up across the ocean floor." Lisa looked at the displays around her and realized what was happening. By activating the central control system, she had awakened the entire city. Systems that had been dormant for thousands of years were coming back to life. "The city is restoring itself," she said in amazement. "The machines are repairing damage, clearing away sediment, and reconnecting broken systems." On the displays, Lisa could see a map of the ocean floor showing the true size of Atlantis. The city was massive, stretching for miles in every direction. But more than that, the map showed other cities, other settlements that had been part of the ancient network. "Ben, there are more cities out there. Atlantis wasn't alone. There's a whole network of ancient human settlements waiting to be discovered." "Are they all like this one?" Ben asked. "I don't know, but if they are, then we're looking at the greatest archaeological discovery in human history. This changes everything we know about our past." Lisa spent another hour exploring the control center, recording everything she could. She learned about Atlantean technology, their culture, and their dreams for the future. They had been a people who loved learning, who respected the ocean, and who had worked to build a better world for their children. As she prepared to leave, Lisa felt a deep connection to the ancient city. These weren't just ruins or artifacts. This was her heritage, the legacy of her own species. The Atlanteans had been human beings like her, with hopes and dreams and incredible abilities. "The aliens were wrong," she said as she climbed back into her submersible. "Humans aren't primitive. We're the children of a great civilization, and we're just beginning to remember who we really are." The submersible began its journey back to the surface, but Lisa's mind was already racing ahead to what came next. She had to tell the world about this discovery. She had to show the aliens that they had completely misunderstood human history and potential. Most importantly, she had to help humanity reclaim its true heritage. Lisa Carter's discovery of Atlantis spread across the world like wildfire. Within hours of her return to the surface, news reports were broadcasting images of the underwater city to every corner of the earth. Scientists, government officials, and ordinary people watched in amazement as the footage showed glowing buildings and advanced technology that seemed impossible for ancient humans to have created. But the most important audience was not on Earth. High above the planet, aboard the Zephyrian flagship, Commander Vex 9 watched the human broadcasts with growing disbelief. "This cannot be real," the commander said to K7, the fleet's chief scientist. "Our scans showed no advanced structures in Earth's oceans. These humans must be creating false images to impress us." K7 studied the data more carefully. "Commander, I have analyzed the recordings. The energy signatures are consistent with advanced technology. The architecture shows engineering principles that are quite sophisticated." "Impossible," Vex 9 replied. "We have studied this planet for decades. There is no evidence of ancient advanced civilizations. These humans have barely learned to use fire." The third member of their group, archaeologist Moore 3, looked up from her analysis station. "Commander, I think we need to investigate this personally. The images show technology that is very similar to some of our own early developments." Vex 9's large eyes widened. "You suggest that these primitive humans once possessed technology comparable to ours? I suggest that we need to see this place for ourselves before we make any final judgments." On the surface, Lisa was preparing for the most important meeting of her life. The aliens had requested a joint expedition to Atlantis, and she knew this. Was humanity's chance to prove that they were more than the primitive species the Zephyrians believed them to be. "Are you ready for this, Dr. Carter?" asked Tony Clark, the engineer who had joined her team. Tony was an expert in advanced materials and energy systems, and Lisa needed his expertise to help explain Atlantean technology to the aliens. "As ready as I can be," Lisa replied. "This is our chance to show them who we really are." The Zephyrian transport ship descended from orbit, its sleek silver hull reflecting the morning sun. It was smaller than their main vessels, but still impressive, about the size of a large airplane. The ship landed on the water's surface next to Neptune's Dawn, floating like a boat despite having no visible hull design for water travel. Commander Vex 9 emerged from the ship, followed by K7 and Moore 3. They wore different clothing than before, suits that seemed designed for underwater exploration. The suits were form-fitting and appeared to be made of the same liquid metal material as their regular clothes. "Dr. Carter," the commander said, its translation device converting its words to English. "We are here to examine your discovery. We expect to find evidence of human deception." Lisa felt her anger rise but forced herself to stay calm. "Commander, I think you're going to be surprised by what we find down there." The aliens brought their own submersible, a craft that looked more like a living creature than a machine. It was smooth and organic, with no visible joints or mechanical parts. Lisa and Tony joined the aliens in their vessel, while Ben and Sam followed in the human submersible Dot as they descended toward Atlantis. Lisa watched the aliens' faces carefully. At first, they seemed bored, as if they were humoring children who claimed to have found treasure. But as the first lights of the city became visible in the deep water, their expressions began to change. "Fascinating," K7 murmured as the glowing pathways came into view. The light sources appear to be biological in nature, but controlled by technological systems. Moore 3 was studying her instruments intently. "Commander, the energy readings are extraordinary. This power system is more efficient than our own early designs." "Early designs?" Lisa asked. "You mean you've built cities like this before?" "We experimented with biotechnological architecture 3,000 years ago," Moore 3 explained. "But we abandoned it because it was too difficult to control. Yet this system appears to be completely stable." As they approached the central dome, Commander Vex 9 fell silent. The massive building rose before them, its symbols glowing with ancient power. The transparent section opened to welcome them, just as it had welcomed Lisa before. "The building is responding to our presence," K7 observed. "It appears to have some form of artificial intelligence." They entered the central chamber, and Lisa heard one of the aliens make a sound of shock. The biomechanical machines were even more impressive the second time, their crystalline structures pulsing with life and energy. "This is impossible, Commander," Vex 9 said quietly. "These designs are more advanced than anything we achieved in our early period." Lisa guided them to the control platform where she had first communicated with the city systems. As they approached, the displays activated, showing the same welcoming message that Lisa had seen before. "Welcome, children of the ancient bloodline," the display read. "Welcome, visitors from distant stars." The aliens stared at the message in shock. "It knows we are not human," Moore 3 whispered. "How is that possible?" The display continued to show information, but now it was presenting data in two different languages. One was English for the humans, and the other was a complex symbol system that made the aliens gasp in recognition. "That is ancient galactic standard," K7 said in amazement. "A language that has not been used for over 8,000 years. How do these ancient humans know galactic standard?" Commander Vex 9 demanded. The display seemed to understand their question. New images appeared, showing the history of Atlantis and its people. But this time, the story included details that Lisa had not seen before. The Atlanteans were not alone in their explorations, the display explained. They had made contact with travelers from other worlds. Knowledge was shared between species, and friendships were formed across the stars. Lisa stared at the images. In wonder, The ancient humans had met aliens thousands of years ago, just as they were meeting them now. But unlike the condescending Zephyrians, these ancient aliens had been partners and friends. Our ancestors worked together with beings from other worlds, the display continued. They shared technology, knowledge, and dreams for the future. Atlantis was meant to be a bridge between worlds, a place where different species could learn from each other. The aliens were completely silent now, staring at the display with expressions that Lisa had never seen before. They looked shocked, confused, and perhaps even a little afraid. "Show us more," Commander Vex-9 said quietly. The display revealed the true scope of Atlantean achievement. The ancient humans had not only mastered clean energy and biotechnology, they had also developed space travel. Images showed sleek ships that could travel between stars, powered by the same energy systems that still ran the underwater city. We were preparing for our first journey to other solar systems when the great catastrophe struck, the display explained. Our ships were ready, our crews were trained, and our destination was chosen. We would have been among the stars 12,000 years ago. K7 turned to Lisa, her large eyes filled with a new kind of respect. "Dr. Carter, your people nearly achieved interstellar travel 12,000 years ago. Do you understand what this means?" Lisa nodded, feeling a mix of pride and sadness. "It means we were almost there. We were almost ready to join the community of star-traveling species, but disaster struck first." "Not disaster," Moore 3 said softly. "Temporary setback. Your people survived, scattered across the world, and preserved their knowledge in genetic, memory, and cultural stories. What you call mythology is actually historical fact." Commander Vex-9 studied the displays showing Atlantean technology. "These power systems, these biomechanical designs, they are more elegant than our own solutions. Your ancestors found ways to work with nature rather than against it. And now?" Lisa asked. "What happens now that you know the truth about human history?" The commander was quiet for a long moment. When it finally spoke, its voice was different. Gone was the condescending tone, replaced by something that sounded almost like humility. "Now we understand that we have made a terrible mistake," Vex-9 said. "We came here believing we were studying a primitive species. Instead, we find that we are meeting the survivors of a great civilization, people who achieved things that we ourselves struggled to accomplish." Lisa felt a surge of triumph, but also something deeper. This was not just about proving the aliens wrong. This was about humanity rediscovering its true heritage and its rightful place among the stars. "We have much to learn from each other," she said, "just as our ancestors did with the aliens they met long ago." The display showed one final message. The children of Atlantis have returned. The bridge between worlds will be built once more. As they prepared to return to the surface, Lisa knew that everything had changed. The aliens no longer saw humans as primitive children. They saw them as the inheritors of a great legacy people, who had been to the stars once before and were ready to return. The news of what the aliens had discovered in Atlantis spread across the galaxy faster than anyone could have imagined. Within days, ships from a dozen different alien civilizations were approaching Earth, all wanting to see the legendary lost city that had become a bridge between ancient and modern times. Lisa Carter stood on the deck of Neptune's Dawn, watching the alien vessels arrive. The sky was filled with ships of all shapes and sizes, from the sleek Zephyrian cruisers to the massive crystal ships of the Andromedans. Each species brought their own scientists and historians, eager to study the human city that had achieved things they thought impossible for such an ancient civilization. "Dr. Carter," Commander Vex-9 approached her, but the alien's manner was completely different now. Gone was the arrogance and condescension. In its place was something that looked almost like respect. "The Galactic Council has requested that I deliver a formal apology to your species." Lisa turned to face the commander. "An apology?" "We have spent decades observing your planet and judging your people as primitive. We never bothered to look deeper, to search for evidence of your true history. We made assumptions based on incomplete data, and those assumptions were terribly wrong." K7 joined them, her arms full of data tablets and scanning equipment. Dr. Carter, what we have learned from Atlantis has forced us to rewrite our understanding of galactic history. Your ancestors were not just advanced for their time, they were pioneers in technologies that we are only now beginning to master. What do you mean? Lisa asked. The biomechanical systems in Atlantis, the way they blend organic and artificial components, it is more sophisticated than anything in our current technology. Your ancestors found ways to create machines that could repair themselves, grow with their environment, and run for thousands of years without maintenance. More 3 appeared with Tony Clark, the human engineer. Both of them looked excited as they carried samples and recordings from their latest dive to the city. Lisa, you need to see what we found today, Tony said breathlessly. The Atlanteans had libraries, huge databases of information stored in crystal matrices, and the aliens can read them. The knowledge contained in those libraries is extraordinary. More 3 explained. Medical techniques that could extend life for centuries, energy systems that could power entire planets, and agricultural methods that could end hunger across the galaxy. Lisa felt overwhelmed by the implications. All of this knowledge has been sitting at the bottom of the ocean for 12,000 years? Not just sitting, K7 corrected. Waiting. The city systems were designed to preserve and protect this information until the descendants of Atlantis were ready to reclaim it. Captain Morrison joined the group, his face serious but hopeful. The president has been in contact with leaders from around the world. They're forming an international committee to oversee the exploration and study of Atlantis. And they want you to lead it, Dr. Carter. Lisa looked out at the alien ships floating in the sky above them. What about our new friends? Are they going to help us understand our own heritage? Commander Vex-9 stepped forward. The Galactic Council has voted unanimously to offer humanity full membership in the galactic community. We will share our technology and knowledge freely, just as we hope you will share the wisdom of Atlantis with us. But there's more, K7 added. The biotechnological principles discovered in Atlantis could revolutionize how we build ships, cities, and entire civilizations. Your ancestors may have found the key to truly sustainable development across the galaxy. Over the following weeks, Atlantis became the most important place on Earth and perhaps in the galaxy. Scientists from dozens of worlds worked alongside human researchers to unlock the secrets of the ancient city. The biomechanical systems were carefully studied and slowly understood. The crystal libraries were accessed and their knowledge shared. Lisa found herself at the center of it all, working with beings she had only dreamed of meeting. She spent her days diving to Atlantis with alien scientists, her evenings studying Atlantean texts with the galaxy's best linguists, and her nights planning expeditions to find other lost human cities around the world. The sonar surveys have found 3 more sites, Ben Hayes reported during one of their daily briefings. One off the coast of Japan, one in the Mediterranean, and one in the Indian Ocean. If these are all Atlantean settlements, we're looking at a global civilization that was far more advanced than we ever imagined. Amy Foster, the linguist who had finally joined the team, looked up from her translation work. The texts confirm it. Atlantis was just one city in a worldwide network. The ancient humans had established settlements on every continent, all connected by advanced communication systems and shared technology. What happened to all of them? Asked Sam Rodriguez. The great catastrophe was truly global, Amy explained. Massive earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, and tsunamis struck the entire planet at once. Most of the cities were destroyed and the survivors were scattered. Only a few places like Atlantis, protected by their underwater location and advanced technology, managed to preserve their knowledge. Lisa looked at the alien scientists working alongside her human colleagues. So the question is, what do we do with this knowledge now? Commander Vex-9 had an answer. We rebuild. Not just the lost cities, but the dream that your ancestors had. They wanted to create a civilization that could spread across the stars while living in harmony with nature. We can help you achieve that dream. The biomechanical technology from Atlantis could solve many of the problems facing both human and alien civilizations. Added more 3, clean energy, sustainable cities, space, ships that can repair themselves during long journeys. Your ancestors created the foundation for a better future. As the months passed, the partnership between humans and aliens grew stronger. Atlantis was carefully restored using a combination of ancient Atlantean techniques and modern alien technology. The city became a living laboratory where species from across the galaxy worked together to solve the challenges facing all civilizations. Lisa often stood in the central chamber of Atlantis, watching human and alien children learning together. The Atlantean educational systems had been restored, and they were teaching young minds from dozens of different worlds. The ancient dream of a bridge between species was finally becoming reality. Dr. Carter, a young human student, approached her one day. My alien friend says that humans are special because we remember our past even when it's lost. Is that true? Lisa smiled, thinking of all the myths and legends that had turned out to be historical fact. Yes, I think it is true. Humans have always told stories about great cities beneath the waves, about flying vehicles and advanced technology, about a time when we could do incredible things. We kept those memories alive even when we didn't understand what they meant. And now we're going to do those incredible things again? Even better, Lisa replied. We're going to do them together with friends from other worlds, just like our ancestors planned to do 12,000 years ago. The restoration of Atlantis took 3 years to complete. When it was finished, the city was more beautiful than it had ever been. The biomechanical systems hummed with renewed life, the crystal libraries glowed with ancient wisdom, and the pathways buzzed with activity as beings from across the galaxy came to learn and share knowledge. On the day of the grand reopening, Lisa stood with Commander Vex 9 on the observation platform of the central dome. Below them, the restored city stretched out in all directions, its buildings alive with light and purpose. Your ancestors would be proud, the commander said. They built this place to be a meeting point between worlds, and that is exactly what it has become. Lisa nodded, feeling a deep connection to the ancient humans who had dreamed of reaching the stars. They always knew we would come back. They built Atlantis to wait for us, to preserve their knowledge until we were ready to use it wisely. And now? Lisa looked up at the sky, where human and alien ships were preparing for the first joint expedition to establish a new colony among the stars. Now we're going home, back to the stars where we always belonged. The lost city of Atlantis had been found, and with it, humanity had rediscovered its true destiny among the stars.